Emotionally unavailable.
Welcome to Emotionally Unavailable, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of emotional availability and intimacy. I'm your host, Melissa Hepner, and I can't tell you how excited I am to have you join me on this journey of self-discovery and connection. Whether you're navigating the complexities of relationships or exploring your own emotional landscape, this podcast is here to inspire, empower, and entertain. So get cozy and let's explore the depths of human emotions together. Hello and happy Wednesday. Today's guest is Laurie Parente. Laurie is a seasoned angel medium, intuitive guide, and energetic healer dedicated to empowering individuals on their journey of self-discovery. With over a decade of experience in the field, Laurie brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her practice. Her journey into the world of healing and spirituality began later in life in her 40s when she felt a profound calling to explore her innate spiritual gifts and connections. During this transformative period, she discovered her passion for helping others navigate their own spiritual paths and reclaim their power. She's very tender and sweet and loving and kind, and I had such a good conversation with her and felt just really held and seen through the whole thing, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. Laurie, love you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think you guys are going to love it. I will make sure to include links to her YouTube, Instagram, her website, and there's another link that says, "It's my goal to create a community of like-minded people that come together weekly to meditate and manifest. Join me Thursday mornings for online guided group meditations to help you stay grounded and available for healing, connection, and activations." And I'm going to include the link to that too, so I might even join that shit. Who knows? Okay, I think that's it. Hope you guys are doing well. I am doing well. And grateful for everyone. And just PSA about the ads. Remember, they're an income source which Mama needs, so we will be patient. Thank you. Love you. Here's me and Laurie.
Emotionally unavailable.
Hi. Ooh, what a beautiful background. I got to change mine, man.
I'm not
create one.
Not quite used to Google Meet, so just give me a second to see how do I change my view.
Oh, that I don't know. I never change it.
You never change it. That's okay. I just like
more options. The little 3 dots.
The little 3 dots.
Yes, and it says change layout.
Thank you.
You know what? I'm going to change it too. How about that? Wait, what was yours on?
It didn't actually do anything. It didn't do anything.
Oh, it didn't?
Auto. I just wanted to. It's okay. I'm used to Zoom, so I'm fine. All good.
I was just wondering what tiled would do.
Well, I tried that, but it didn't change anything for me.
Hide tiles without video. Okay, I'm going to see if it changes it for me. It didn't change it for me either.
Okay, there we go.
Maybe more about like how it looks after the recording's over.
Right.
I don't know.
I love your glasses.
I don't know much either. Thank you. Well, it's so nice to meet you. Is your name pronounced Laurie or Lori?
Lori.
Okay, perfect. Glad I asked. And then will you pronounce your last name?
Parente.
Okay, I thought so, but man, lately I've been forgetting to ask, and then when I go to do my intro, because I record that separately, then I'm like, oh, I didn't ask how to pronounce your last name, and I hate mispronouncing. So, okay, good. Well, it's so nice to meet you. So, like I said, I do a separate introduction.
Okay.
At the beginning. I am a very no frills podcast. So, like I'm already recording. I'm probably not going to cut any of this out. I am building a brand of authenticity, of like very real. Okay. So cool. I just want you to know that. And then I am not like in a super big rush, so I won't be cutting you off at the hour. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I got to go to I'm so sorry. So I try to warn people if that's the case, but I don't have another one after this. You might, but I'm just telling you. Okay.
I do.
We'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up beautifully. But on the same token, if we're just deep in it, just be like, okay, baby, I got to go, whatever. It's fine. You're not gonna hurt me at all. And sometimes that's like the best conversations. That's like how it's going,
Right.
Okay. So I think I got all the warnings out of the way.
All right, so I was looking at your Podmatch profile again this morning, and I was kind of like, oh man, like where do I start? Because I'm loving all of my conversations like with mediums and spiritual people, and so I was like, man, what's a good place to start? And so I thought I would just ask you, because I don't feel like these are gifts that are like unique to us. We just discovered them, and I'm trying to get more people to understand that we could all access this level of intuition and whatever. And then because I haven't mastered, like I've been trying so hard for so long I have this deep desire to be able to connect knowingly with spirits and like,
Mm,
you know what I mean? And do that, but I don't know how. So I thought a good place to start would be like, how did you discover that you were intuitive? All of it, How did it
right.
unravel too? Was it just like a knowing at first and then, or did like dead people just start popping up? You know what I mean? Like what happened?
So it's been a long journey for me. I'm nearly 60, and it's had its ebbs and flows. And definitely when I was young, I was completely connected, as we all are.
Mhm.
Um, and then you get to a point where when you're talking about spirit or you're talking about angels, and maybe it's around the age of 5 or 6 and you're going to school, all of a sudden it isn't normal anymore. And you get the message very quickly that if what I'm seeing and feeling and sensing is not normal, then I must not be normal.
And I'm not
And
going to talk
so,
about it anymore.
right, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to shove it down. I'm going to have this private relationship. For me, it was more with angels when I was younger, for sure. And then, what started happening as time went on, you get into those teenage years, and there may be, you going on some parties and some alcohol comes into play and stuff. And then it would start to come out as my defenses came
Oh,
down, right? And at that point, I was like, you go away. I do not want this. I want to be normal. I want to fit in.
it felt
Because I,
negative.
yeah, well, no, it's just because I'd shoved everything down for so long that it
Okay.
didn't feel like people were making fun of me, right?
But did you feel kind of delusional? Like, did you feel like what you were seeing must
Yeah.
not be true? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So just because of the feedback I was getting, like she's
Ah,
that crazy girl that talks to spirits when she drinks, right? So I
right.
just really said, I don't want this. Like, go away. I want to live a normal life, whatever that is,
Yeah.
right? So I did all the things, went to university, got married, had kids, all my loves. And it wasn't really until my early 40s, like it would come and go. My mom died when I was in my mid 20s, and it started to kind of come back then, but I still really pushed it away. I wanted to connect to her, but I didn't want to let anyone know I was connecting to her, because I'd say something and then someone would go, "Oh my God, that's so weird." Right? Because I was so resistant to myself, everyone else, I was getting that back as a mirror, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
So
I
my
didn't even
early,
think of it like that. And you're
yeah,
exactly right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right? We think other people are saying things to us like that's crazy or that's weird, but we're the one projecting it onto ourselves.
Yeah. Versus if you were just like, yeah, I talk to angels.
Yeah,
And, they'd be like,
yeah,
tell me how to talk to angels.
right. Because
Yeah.
when you're open to it,
Yes.
then you're giving people the permission to open to it as well, right?
Absolutely.
So
But you were very
on
clearly ashamed of your gift.
Right. Well, yeah. So, honestly, it wasn't until my early 40s until I there was just this day where what happened was the pain of being inauthentic just got so loud that I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just done. Um, and as things happen, I just happened to be, on Facebook, and this mediumship course came up with James Von Prague. And I just left on it, right? Like I just was like,
Ah,
okay, like I didn't even think about, like I'd paid for it and everything, and then I went,
I'm
what just happened,
obsessed with that guy.
right? Um, and that it just blew me wide open. It just gave me the permission and I started talking to my people, and then I started talking to my angels, and then I started noticing that I was listening to other people and hearing and seeing and feeling everything all again. So it took a little while to honestly, I took a bunch of courses just to kind of solidify it, to learn how to harness it, if you will. So it's
Right.
not wide open all the time,
Yeah.
so I could actually go to a mall or go to an
I was about to
airport.
say you're going to the grocery store and it's driving
Right?
you insane. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at this time that I was taking all the courses, I really figured out how to go within and work with my team in spirit. So it was kind of like this two-pronged approach. And I set up what now I realize was what I call now soul sanctuary, what I teach, where I went within and met with my team. And I would say, who wants to teach me today? And it's evolved and it's grown for sure over the years. And then it just got to the point where I started being more open. Actually, what happened was my daughter came home from school. She was in grade 11 at the time, taking a psychology class, and the teacher was debunking mediumship and saying how it was all crap and all this stuff, right? Because she was coming from this scientific point of view.
Yeah.
And her friend turned around and said, "But isn't your mom a medium?" And she came home and she told me, and I thought, okay, if this 16-year-old boy views me as a medium, it's time to step in and let go of all that unworthiness, let go of all those old stories, let go of all that crap, and just step into it. And that's when it really, when I started offering sessions and when I started doing live events and when everything really, really opened up.
Ah, I find myself with a feeling of jealousy. Like I really do. And then my second question in my head was, I wonder if this happened during your like Uranus opposite Uranus transit, because that's when everything like really shifted for me in authenticity.
Right.
Like at 43, 42 or 43, it started shifting. That's when all these tattoos came, because I've had tattoos forever, but I kept them like only on my back and my rib cages. And
Right.
then I got my nose pierced, all because the only reason I wasn't doing those things is because I'm embarrassed to say this, even though I've said it 1,000 times. I wanted to be able to be whoever I wanted to be in that moment. I knew
Right.
on some level that I was masking, but it wasn't occurring to me like that's actually what I was doing. I thought I was just being who somebody needed me to be. And,
Right.
my appearance didn't need to like make them not trust me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It was a whole people pleaser thing, but I just didn't
Yeah.
realize that that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then one day I just awoken to, it's 11:11.
Mm.
I just awoken to like the need to just not care anymore. It was crazy fast, but
Right.
yeah. But
Yeah.
when I like looked at my astrology, I was like, oh, that's when that started. That's so cute. But yeah, I'm so excited that you said his name, because that
Interesting.
was my first medium. Yeah.
I don't know a lot about astrology, but I know I had this beautiful reading where she said, like, underneath, like, until the age of 42, your chart is almost like blank, like it's just like status quo, and then it went poof, and that's
Yeah.
how it felt. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of it's been a real ripple effect for me too. Like I've been stepping further and further and further into authenticity. Even that's why my show is the way it is. Like I want to be the realest version of me at all times. Like, sure, eventually I would like to have like a background and things like that can make some things more aesthetically pleasing, but I'm never going to put all of this effort into presenting a certain way anymore.
Right.
So I love that. And okay, really quick, was the person in class trying to be mean to your daughter? I mean, I know it was
No.
her friend, but
No.
was she just
No.
kind of like, you got something to say, this MF? Like,
No. Yeah. No,
okay.
he was really turning around and going, but like, this woman's talking crap. Like, isn't your mom a medium?
Yeah, like,
Like,
what are you gonna do?
what is she talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Because I was like,
Yeah.
did she feel threatened? Okay, great.
No. No.
Okay, I also have another question. So you said that when you were younger, it was connecting with angels.
Mhm.
What did that look like? Because I almost wonder if that's what my experience was when I was little. I felt like, I'm not a Christian anymore, but like the whole footprints thing, like the
Mhm.
whatever. Um, I kind of felt like that a lot in childhood, but like with an angel, like somebody is carrying me, someone is protecting me, because like I
Right.
had some horrific shit, you know what I mean? But and there were moments in the dark that later in life made sense. At the time, some things were scary because I had a lot of
Mhm.
religious programming too, from people
Right.
who were very scared of spirits, unless it
Mhm.
was the Holy Spirit. But
Right.
like, you know, I was taught it was all demonic, all of it. And you got to be
Right.
so careful because you're going to invite the wrong people in, blah, blah, blah. So what did it look like for you to communicate with angels?
So, I spent the first 2 years of my life in and out of hospital. They didn't know what was wrong with me, and it was at a time when parents were only allowed to be there for, like, 30 minutes.
Oh,
So, imagine, 1, 2 years old and being on your own, and my mom would say, the nurses would say, like, "She's always so happy. She's so sick, and she's always so happy." And I would say, "'Cause the angels are here." And they would read to me, and they would hold me, and they were my friends, and they were just everything to me. Like, I knew that everything was okay, and I have memories of that time.
you
And
do.
so, I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal now, but it was the late 1960s, and
Oh, very
I
big deal.
right?
Yes.
I have
Yeah.
celiac disease, right? That's what, so, but they
Ah,
didn't, I mean, it's much easier to diagnose now, but
that
at
took
that point,
forever to get figured
yeah,
out. You
right?
poor thing.
So, and it wasn't, and I remember coming home from the hospital, like I didn't need friends, I didn't need playmates, I didn't need that because I had my angels. Now, people will say, "Did you see them?" To me, they were colors, they were lights,
Okay,
they were
that's what I was
sounds,
wondering.
they were frequency.
Uh-huh.
Um, they're floating orbs. I didn't really see, like big things that,
Sure, sure. With the
right, with
wings and the
wings and
whatever.
right.
Right.
It was more of a feeling. So, and
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
way that my mediumship works is always more of a feeling than a
Uh-huh.
visual, and
Mhm.
more I could hear them, but it's not like human sound. It's like,
No. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm so glad that you're explaining this so beautifully because people do wonder all the time. I can't answer questions like this because I'm like I'm still discovering
Right.
what my abilities are, you know? But when I look back, it's just a knowing. It's just
Yeah.
a feeling. And when I say I hear things, it's internal
Hmm.
and it's I will give it my voice to amplify. If does that make sense? Do I sound crazy?
Yeah.
But like at first, the first hearing of something isn't in my voice. It's just a word or it's a phrase or whatever. And then I'm like, what? And then I can amplify it by hearing it in my own voice. And if I see something, it's only in my brain a memory of something that happened to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because like when I use tarot, I read them intuitively. So I just
Hmm.
look at the pictures and like what is then I just let my brain take over. Like what like what visual does this create for me? What's
Right.
coming up? And I just start saying it because I'm not
Right.
afraid to be wrong. Whereas before I was afraid to be wrong. But like now I'm like, is it this? And I'm still learning what my interpretations mean. Like every time I pick up an Empress card, I always see that as first someone's in their feelings about love because that's the way it translated to me the very first time I was trying to read it intuitively. And so I'll
Hmm.
be like, "Oh, are you feeling down on yourself about relationships?" You know what I mean?
Right.
But like that's kind of how symbols work for me, but as a
Hmm.
kid, there were a couple of like light exchanges and
Right.
but very much almost like you're hovering over sleep and
Yeah.
like someone just a voice like you are safe you
Hmm.
are you know what I mean.
Yeah. Just letting you know that no matter what's happening, no matter what you're going through, you are okay. And it's that real feeling of, for me, angels are peace. Just that peace and that calm and just that knowing that, okay, take a breath. It's okay. Which is really hard for us as children when we have no one to explain that to us. And I love that's changing for the children of the world today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, because everything's not a catastrophe, but our brain thinks it is. And
Right.
God bless my generation and older, like we were just taught to rub dirt on it and walk it off. And the reason people aren't able to tune in to these abilities is because they're they're in too much of a hurry, but also like nervous system's completely dysregulated. Who I was up until a year and a half ago, I was in survival mode every minute of every day. And that's not an exaggeration. That's the world I lived in. And
Mhm.
I couldn't relax. I couldn't, like
Yeah.
be attuned to anything. I didn't even know how much I was experiencing sensations in my body until my life got calm. I mean,
Right.
I kind of
Right.
hate it sometimes how attuned I am to my body now, because every little thing gives me that like roller coaster feeling in my stomach when I get upset. Like I see something that upsets me, I feel it in so many parts of my body, and I don't like that. But it's better than not even knowing it was happening.
Right.
I mean, it
Right.
was happening before. I just was unaware of it.
Yeah. Fear was definitely running the show, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Fear and shame. Those were
Fear
my
and shame.
leaders. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Guilt's
Absolutely.
usually thrown in there too.
Yeah. Well, I was just not a good person because I wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
That was really the world I was living in. And
Right.
yeah, now I'm like, well, okay, so I went and it took a very long time to get over my fear of talking to a medium. And about 5 years ago, I think, I finally got the nerve because my parents have been gone for a very long time. And I was like, I just want to know if they're proud of me. So I went and I had this beautiful experience. So I went again and again. But the second time and the third time, I really didn't go for any other reason than to try to get some sense of learning.
Right.
I had felt so connected to spirit in the
Right.
presence of the medium that I just wanted that again. And so
Right.
the third time I went, I was just asking like question, like advice,
Mhm.
how, like, what's this? And I was like, is it possible for family members to kind of like be on my spirit team? And he was like, oh, are you asking because you want to know if your mom is on your spirit team? And I was like, yes. He's like, yeah, she is. But like, that's, I think that's where like so much peace came from for me, is because I don't feel stupid being like, thank you, mom, or hey, mom. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's so easy for me to be like, oh, and then I'm like, mom, and then anybody else, but I haven't learned how to connect with anybody else. I know I can feel them sometimes, but
Mhm.
mom's easy. I know what that
Right.
energy feels like.
Right. Right. So one thing I will say is that any kind of expectations are putting barriers on your connections.
Ooh,
Right. So
yeah.
if we have this expectation, I'm going to go in, I'm going to meet with grandpa, then we're getting in our head about it. So it's the process is to go within and just be curious and just be. I have this feeling that if you work with your mom, she'll be a bit of a gatekeeper for you, which is you can just say, okay, mom, and you can visualize yourself. I don't think you visualize completely, but just kind of like I'm on a bench or something in a flower garden, bring in all your senses. Here's mom. And then just say, mom, is there anyone else that I can connect with? And have her kind of bring them through and just be willing to be absolutely shocked about who's there. Wow, it's great grandpa Frank, and I never even met him in life, or whatever. Take away the expectations, take away the pressure that you're putting on yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I also have a hard time completely letting go of, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. We've been taught that
getting out of my head.
meditation means going within and having no thoughts. And it really makes me laugh because my guide said to me one time, if you have no thoughts, you're dead.
Right.
So why are you trying? Why are you putting this pressure on yourself to not have any thoughts? You're going to have thoughts. So it's about, finding what works for you. Does it work for you to be out in nature? Does it work for you to be communing with a plant? Does it work for you to just do some breath work for a minute and then just close your eyes? And what if I could go within? And what if I could be sitting on this bench? And what if my mom could be sitting beside me? And even then, oh, I got a little to-do list coming in here. That's okay. I'll get to you later. Let's go back to the bench, right? Because
Okay.
we'll get these thoughts coming in and we'll be like, oh, I can't do this. I have these thoughts. And we get all judgy on ourselves.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, hi, thought. Okay, but I'm on a bench right now and I'm calling in my mom and I'm talking to my mom and I'm bringing in, oh, look, I can see her hands, like, and I can hear there's birds singing in this garden and I can hear, and I'm just using the example of a garden,
Yeah.
right? You can go to the ocean. You can, like, wherever feels good for you to go to. And then, oh, I just had a thought because my dog barked. It's okay. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm back here. I'm on the bench. Just keep bringing yourself back. Keep bringing yourself back with that kindness and that compassion. And then just having a conversation with your mom.
I love that.
As soon as we simplify it and get out of our heads and allow whatever's ready to come to us to come, then it just starts to flow.
Right. Well, and I think too, regardless of what like the majority of your belief system is, like most people believe in guardian angels. So if like that's the name that you want to give it, great. But in that spirit, what can you help people understand about how this can impact their lives so positively? Like, why does it benefit them to get more in touch with their spirituality?
I just want to add one thing about what we were talking about, how important an intention is. So, because people will have a lot of fear, and fear can bring in things that, maybe your brain's making up or something. So it's just the intention. I intend to connect with my mom and I intend to connect with beings of light and have a wonderful experience. That's all the intention needs to be. So that fear program isn't running on you.
That is a great point. Thank you.
Yeah. And so to your question, I think one of the biggest issues that I see all the time that people face is grief, and it's unprocessed grief. I say we have a grief illiterate society. We don't know what to do with grief. Like you said, rub dirt on it and keep going, right? And when my mom died when I was in my 20s, I remember like a month later, a friend saying to me, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you still sad? Like, it's been a month.
Yes.
Right? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not even doing grief right. I can't even figure out grief.
Yes.
Right. And then so you put so much pressure on yourself to get up and get going, and you're still not sleep. It's only been a month. You're not sleeping. You're not eating. Life is just totally screwed up, but you've got to pretend you're fine. Right. So we have this real grief illiterate society. And when I lead people to connect with their people, it's like this relief. It's like this tangible feeling. Oh, it goes on. Because what have we been told? Oh, I had kind of a crappy relationship with my dad. And so now I've got to wait until I die to see him again. And I'm going to hold all this crap for the rest of my life.
Right.
No, we're meant to continue our relationships no matter what they were like. If you had a great relationship, if you had a crappy relationship, if there was a whole bunch of stuff left unprocessed, why would you wait 40 years until you die to figure that out when you can figure it out now? You can work it out, you can clean up that relationship, and then you can have this beautiful relationship with your dad in spirit.
Right. And I will tell you this. I've had a few mediums on here, but the medium that I went to see, and then I had someone on here a few weeks ago. They both said this in a different way. And the first time I was not really as spiritual as I am now, so it didn't make sense. But when the last one said it, it made perfect sense now that I have the belief and the foundation that I do. But they both said, basically, like, your mom just didn't pass the test. Like, she didn't meet her mission. She didn't accomplish her purpose. And so now she's still helping, because part of our contract was that she was going to help me in this certain way in this lifetime. She's just doing it from the other side now. Right. That gave me so much peace. But where it helped really is the relationship, because I was primarily raised by my grandma, because my parents were addicts, and they were very, like, we knew them. We were, they were involved with us to the extent that they could be, but they're pretty unpredictable and inconsistent. Right. But like, most of my anguish really was with my grandma, because it was such a crazy relationship dynamic, and that got very ugly at the end of her life. And so the piece that came from the last medium saying, and your grandma's here, and this, just kind of seeing that final puzzle piece of, and the same thing happened to her. She didn't pass either. She didn't make it. Like, and I get it. As a person who literally was suicidal 2 years ago, I'm like, I almost didn't make it either. So I can, of course, understand where these women were and whatever. And I have literally no more anger. I am at so much peace in all of those relationships. And I had held on tightly to my anger for years about my grandma. And I couldn't even have like a positive memory of her anymore. But just putting it all together, it just peace. That's the only thing I can say.
Right. It's peace. And so whether those messages are coming through from a medium or whether you're finding them yourself, I always, I started this work as what I would say is a traditional medium where people would come and I would give them messages and off they would go. And now it's so much more important to me to teach them how to connect on their own. Because it's like, I had a couple of clients say to me once, and this was quite a few years ago, it's so wonderful to connect with them, but actually now I'm more sad because I just want to connect with them again. And I went, okay, time to change how things are being done. And let's connect you to them. Now, can everyone, does that mean everyone's going to go out there and be a medium? I don't know. Let's see what your contracts were. But you can do it for yourself. We're meant to continue our relationships. They're not meant to end. They don't have a break. Right. We're meant to continue them. We're meant to go forward and have now this beautiful relationship, spirit to spirit. Yeah. And so, for example, for my dad, didn't have a great relationship, really didn't see him the last 30 years of his life, ended up being there through circumstances when he was dying and had the chance to really say some things. But after he died, my mom would bring him through and I'd be like, nah, I'm not ready. Right. And then it took a while. And then finally he came through. And now our relationship is like I just love it. When he pops in or when I call him in, he's like my Merlin magic guy who shows me the most incredible things. Right. Yeah. So I didn't need to spend the rest of my life telling everybody I had this crappy relationship with my dad. I had the opportunity to connect with him and turn it into something beautiful, which is what it's meant to be. So, I believe everyone can connect. I actually think it's our birthright to connect to our people. Yeah. It's part of who we are. It's part of our magic. It's part of our senses. And I think it really changes the landscape of grief for people.
Oh, absolutely. Because even before I was very spiritual, so I was a full-time hospice social worker for years. I still work in the bereavement space a little bit. And I actually have a cover for this book and everything and never ended up writing it. But I had the grief formula. And one of the 3 tenets of it was stay connected to your loved one. And I was just encouraging people to follow their own lead. If your heart says, I want to pretend that we're still having our morning coffee together, then do it. If you want to create a memorial in their rose garden and sit there and connect with them in those moments, do that. But do whatever you're feeling led to do to stay connected, whether it is you don't want to get rid of their clothes, then keep their clothes, whatever it is for you. And now I'm kind of giggling because I'm like, man, I didn't even know what I was doing for those people. I did, but I didn't, but I was stay connected. There is a way to do that beautifully. And there isn't really a wrong way. So just do whatever, you're not feeling the need to do those things for no reason. Because I remember my grandma even, the best gift she got after my mom died was a friend at work brought her who had also lost a child. So she kind of knew how to support her, but it was a teddy bear and she hot glued a frame with a picture of my mother in it and hot glued it onto the chest of that teddy bear so she could hold her. Shit like that was so important. It helped her so much. And I remember being so grateful that the person did this for her because it was, she lost a kid and it was her baby, it was the baby of the family, Right. But again, just keeping those connections in any way that you can. But see, as well as I do, that was considered morbid before. listen, maybe I just got some really weird grief programming, but my grandma was so weird about grief because she experienced way too much loss in a young life. And she just, some of this was her programming that she received, but some of it was just her filter that just said, you know what, this is how we're going to do this. And so we weren't really even allowed to talk a lot about stuff as we were growing up. I mean, by the time like my parents died, well, actually I was only 15 when my dad died. So she was still really weird. But like when it was her daughter, then it was like, we're allowed to talk about it freely. And that was the first time that she really did, because her grief was all consuming. She couldn't not, but everything was morbid. Everything like, oh, that's morbid. Don't talk like that in my house. That's morbid. Or, oh, that's demonic, you know, everything. Yeah. And I think that was a very common way to look at things for their generation.
It's the fear programming. If we have everybody scared of this and keep them in their heads, then they're not in their hearts. And, you know, they're not being authentic, and we can control them.
Well, yeah, you're a lot easier to control if you're just following a leader instead of following your own intuition. But see, that was the thing too, is, and I actually think now looking back, my mom was helping me learn this lesson. And sorry, audience, I've told this story a couple times, but so one night I got this scam call on my phone. Well, I got a text saying, did you spend money in Dallas? And I was like, no. Great, we're going to call you. I answer the phone, but as I'm answering very loudly, I hear, don't you give them that information. Don't you give them your information. And like, I'm answering to say hello, and I hear that. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost fell for this. So the guy starts talking. I go, yeah, I'd really rather talk to the bank directly. He hangs up before I even finish my sentence. My very first words out of my mouth were, thank you, Mom. And then I stopped. And I was like, no, that was me. Like, that was my higher self. That was me. That was my intuition. And that was the first time I learned how I had been outsourcing my power my entire life. Like, really, like, by thank you, God. Thank you, angel. Thank you, Mom. However the religion progressed or the spirituality progressed, there was always someone smarter than me that could guide me. Now, I know that I am being guided. I do know that. But I have an intuition, you know, but that was the first time that I heard my voice for what it was and understood that, like, no, baby, there is a version of you that is guiding you too, you know?
Right. And my team will always say, never forget that you are the CEO of your team. Never forget that you are in charge. Never forget you're coming to us so that we can teach you and bring you wisdom. But it's up to you what you do with it. It's up to you what works for you. They will say, during this time of great transformation right now on Earth, when everyone's coming back to their hearts and going, wait, this head stuff isn't working for us after 2,000 years. You were the one who was the evolved soul who put your hand up and said, I volunteer to go. And you created your team. We are here for you. You are the boss.
I needed to hear this. I needed to hear this so much. Yeah.
And so that portion of us that is outside of our body, whether you call it your higher self, your oversoul, whatever is connected directly to source, whatever words work for you, that is your number one guide, because that is you. And often they will say to me, remember, the story of the guardian angel has kind of come out of religion, and it's all over the world. And they'll say, but what if your guardian angel is your higher self? What if it is an aspect of you and you're guiding you?
Absolutely. Right? Yes. I actually made a post about this because have you seen the TikTok trend that was like, it started from a poem that a girl wrote that said, had lunch with my younger self today.
Right.
A marketing person was like, hey, this is a good trend for you to hop on. And I was like, I don't do trends. Like, I don't just do it because, you know, but something happened and I was like, wait a second. And so I did it. And I said, I realized it was my higher self all along. Like, that's who, you know, and it's meant a lot to me. But you saying what you just said about me being the CEO, I felt that in my chest because I am very much placing astrology, astrologers, my spirit team, everyone else on a pedestal, separating them from me at all times, because I'm sitting in a place with like a lot of financial stress on this entrepreneurial journey. And I'm still very much questioning all the time, like, am I doing what I'm supposed to? Am I doing enough? That's the word. Like,
Right.
am I being lazy? I feel like I'm being intuitive. Am I not? Things like that, where I'm constantly just making sure I'm doing the right thing. But I'm asking all these
Right.
things and people, you know what I mean? Like, in my
Yeah.
heart, I'm not going, Melissa, you're the fucking CEO.
You're the
You
CEO.
know what I mean?
So,
Like, I'm feeling powerless instead of
right.
like having all the power.
When those thoughts come up and like, am I doing enough? Am I doing this? And, I've got this obviously kind of a scarcity wound coming up and all this
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
And you can just go, okay, I know what my head says because it said it to me 10,000 times and it's
Yeah.
not changing my life. And just imagine your energy, and you can even close your eyes, just going from your head to your heart. And then you can even put your hands on your heart. I know what my head says. What does my heart say?
Yeah.
Just
That's
try
crazy.
it. Try it.
Well, I do a lot of that in terms of working out psychological distress, but I
Mhm.
don't do that in terms of like what I'm doing in my life. So that is such a perfect recommendation, because I do that all the time to know if I'm overreacting about an interpersonal situation.
Right.
Because it's funny, like my advice to my clients all the time is get out of your head and into your heart. Like I tell people
Right.
that all day, every day, but I don't
Right.
do it about this. I only
About
do
your
it about
business.
human shit. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. So get out of your head and into your heart about your business, right? And it's a challenge. It doesn't you know, even when we use the word business, we're in our head, right?
Right. Because that's
So,
not what this is. Like, I've
right?
given it a label. I'm saying I'm an entrepreneur because
Mhm.
I quit a job and I'm fully in living out my passion and purpose. Like,
Right.
fully. I'm fully in what I feel like is my design, like what I'm here for. But like, it's scary. It's scary when you have human ass stress, like I can't pay a bill, you know?
Right. So I always say when something is like bringing you into your head, how can you reframe it? So can you be a spiritpreneur?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's smart.
And then really getting deep down into what is this
What is
scarcity
that?
wound?
Yeah.
What is this wound? Where
No,
am I
I've been
feeling it
trying
in
so
my
hard to work
body?
on that. Yes.
Where do I feel it in my body? What does it look like? What does it need?
Oh, yeah.
And what's coming through is just some generational work, with your mom and your grandma, and clearing that scarcity wound, because I believe you have a daughter
Yeah.
and you want it to stop here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm about to start my period, so you're making me cry.
Oh, it's nice when you're in 50s and you don't have to deal with that anymore.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's these wounds are coming up for us to heal. So when we're having some resistance, how much can I notice I'm in my head, and how can I drop into my heart, into my body, and allow it to inform me? And what does it need, and what is it looking for? And then going within and saying to your spirit team, okay, I've identified this. I know I need some help with it. Who can help me? Who's ready to help me?
Like that.
Right? So
Yeah.
taking that power of, my dad came through yesterday because there was a bit, how healing's circular, and
Yes.
we work on things, and I'm like, scarcity. Why is this coming up again? Right? That's not where I'm at, but it's coming up for a reason. And so I just went within and I said, who can help me with this? I feel this coming up, and I feel like I know what it needs, but can I get some clarity? And he just came right forward and showed me this big, long piece of wood and said, let's just snap that. Let's get rid of that. And then I saw the waves of it go back generationally, and I saw it go to my 2 daughters and my sons.
I love that.
So it's just about being open and willing to get out of our heads. Like, I've studied with Sonia Choquette for a long time, and she will just say, who's driving the bus? And she says, she always gets you to name your head like it's your barking dog. And she's like, do you want your dog driving the bus? No, you want to train your dog. That's your brain. That's your mind. You want to train it and have your heart be the lead. You want your heart driving that bus, because your mind's going to take you through some damn scary neighborhoods and drop you off in places you don't want to be. But if your heart is driving the bus, you're always going to be in flow, and you're always going to know where you're going, and you're going to get where you want to go, and even better.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is you're confirming because what I was going to say is basically exactly what you just said, which is what I keep knowing over and over is like, there is no wrong when you're in your heart. If you are following yourself and just leaning in, what's my next step? Okay, that feels good. Like, just because I can't, like, the stress may not be being relieved for a different reason. They may not be related, or maybe I just haven't hit the button yet, but it's not because I'm doing something wrong. It just
No.
is. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Honestly, I do think our brain likes to know, okay, your heart told you step 1, but what's step 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? No, right?
I know, I feel jealous of those
Okay,
people
brain.
who like get a whole future spec, you know, where they're like, I'm not as good at knowing how that's going to unfold, but I know that's the reality. Whereas like,
Right.
I'm like, okay, next step is
Next step is
no future forecasting for me at all.
no. Well, and we live in a time where it's difficult to forecast the future, right? Because
Yeah.
there's so many timelines coming in and so many different factors that we just can't even imagine how many things are at play. So it's, how does this feel? And what's my next step?
Yeah. And maybe I have been thinking a little too future-y too. Like maybe I've been taking less next steps. Maybe I've just been thinking too much.
Right. Well, I mean, when you're trying to start something, but you have these human things coming in, the fear starts to bubble back up. Okay, fear, I see you. What do you need?
So it's not a problem that I need to go solve. It's just more work I need to do within.
Right.
It's like I need to remember that doesn't mean that thought didn't happen so you'd go run your ass off and try to get something done. It happened so
Right.
that you could go within and
Right.
figure out why it came up again.
We're totally unraveling this programming of I have to do to succeed, right? And
Yes.
so it's a new paradigm. So it's scary for us. I have to be to succeed,
Yeah.
right? I mean, nobody's lived like this since when? Atlantis? Like, when did
Right.
people live like this, right?
Right.
Ancient Egypt. So it's how much time can I just be and just listen and just have those knowings come in, getting off of devices and spending time and not, as you said, getting on the next trend and all these things that we're told you need to do this and you have to have a funnel in your emails and like all this stuff. What if I just be and I just start to call in what is coming for me on my trajectory?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that because it is the way it was always intended. It was just, yeah. And it's funny because I really thought that's mostly what I was doing, but I can see almost like a line in the time that I was doing more of that versus now when I've done so much less of it. I think I got clouded, and I just didn't realize I was getting wrapped back up in the human brainy stuff again.
Well, I think how I've seen it is the light coming into the earth right now through the photon belt, which you would probably know more about with astrology than I do, that we're going through. It's bringing in so much light that it's popping up all those densities. So we're all having more thoughts. We're all having more fears. Because it's like where we're going, we can't take those densities with us.
Right.
So people are saying like, I have been peaceful and calm and like in my heart. And now all of a sudden, all these thoughts again. And it's just where we are right now. So it's always so important to be compassionate and kind. Okay, this is where we are. I can see my thoughts running. What is the pattern I'm observing? And how can I help to unravel this pattern that's coming up again?
Yeah. And I've even been like utilizing like the parts stuff a little bit because I found that I was dismissing my own self. Like anytime a thought would come up that I was like, oh, that's not healthy or whatever, I'd be like, oh, psh. Whereas now I'm trying to sit with the part of me that had that thought and say, hey, it sounds to me like you haven't caught up. to where like I
Right.
am right now, but I'm going to invite you to come be with us because this is where we are and blah, 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 you know, that
Right.
whole thing, that at the very least feels really good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, it's always that part of me. What do you need to be able to come forward with me?
Mm.
Because I find if I say like, "Are you ready to?" Like I'm missing a little piece.
Yes.
For me, and I think for you, because you mentioned it, like feeling it in your body. Okay, this thought is coming up. Where's the corresponding emotion? Where is it in my body? What does it look like? Does it have a density? Does it have a color? Does it have a sound? Just kind of getting into it, and then going, okay, I see you. I feel you. What do you need? And then once that need is expressed, how can I give you that? And then, okay, we can do that. We can work together. And then can I wrap you up in some gold and bring you home?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really is just all that caretaking that we didn't give
Right.
ourselves or receive from anyone else.
Well, we were taught to put ourselves last. It was selfish, right?
Mhm. Yes, I keep saying I would love to rebrand the word selfish because I'm
Yeah.
100% selfish now, if that's the way we want to look at it.
Yeah.
Like, people look at me a little crazy when I'm like, no, I will put my needs even above my children if that's what I have to do. In like,
Right.
I'm not saying I'm going to eat before they do, but I'm not in a freaking hunger crisis. Like, you know,
Right.
but like, I am saying I will sit with them in their disappointment. If I'm not at a capacity to meet the need of whatever they're asking for, then I will try to meet this need that I didn't have the capacity for. And then what? I just blow the whole thing up for all of us. That was
Right.
me every day in my previous life where,
Right.
can we do this? Okay. And then I'm mad the whole time. I'm resentful.
Right.
And you're not being grateful enough, even though I'm doing this when I didn't want to. And da, 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 da. Then there's
Right.
all this expectation created, resentment, all the things. Whereas now I'm like, I'm too tired. I can't do it. I'm so sorry. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and
Right.
we'll live.
And you're modeling that to them, right? Like
Yes.
we can do things when we feel full, when we feel energetic, when we feel vibrant, right? And when they're coming to you with an issue, you can say, okay, I am just going to go sit down and do some breath work for about 5 minutes because I need to refill me. Can you wait 5 minutes and then let's talk? So
Yeah.
really modeling to them that ensuring that like it's not, I mean, selfish is just, you're right, it's got a bad rap. But if I'm not putting myself first, if I'm not taking care of my health and my emotions and everything within me, how can I be helpful to someone else?
Right. And you know what? It's so easy to understand that in theory, but man, the more I uncover the ways that I'm still putting other people first, like all the
Yeah.
time, it's so sneaky that I'm so happy to have the awareness now to like,
Mhm.
oh, I
Right.
was scared to like do this instead of that. Like, wow. Like I see it all the time, almost every day still.
And that awareness, you know what, I think we'll see it forever, but that awareness is 95% of it. When we're aware of it, then we're at choice. When we
Yes.
don't know what's happening, how can we be at choice? But when we're aware, we go, oh, that's that pattern. And I can see where it came from. And now what can I choose from here?
Right. Well,
What
and
in
even
this?
awareness about those bodily sensations that I was talking to you about, because that's kind of what showed me I needed to get a lot more careful about what I was consuming, like
Yes.
media. And, you know, because
Right.
if I'm having a visceral reaction to something like this, I don't need to ingest that. I
Right.
just don't. Whereas I used to be like a true crime girly. I really loved watching true crime, listening to true crime. I mean, every chance I got, that's what I was. Oh, no wonder. But like I was just taking that in at all
Right.
times. And it was not good for me, but I could not feel that it wasn't because nothing in my life was really good. Like I had
Right.
really just reached a point of burnout, but I'm like feeding myself and making it worse and not even knowing. Whereas now, when I have those physical sensations to something that quick, but it's also what's allowing me, like I've noticed where the scarcity stuff is popping up lately because the physical sensations are getting so much louder. For
Right.
instance, I have anxiety when I get an email. Why? I don't know, but I just noticed it like in the
Right.
last week. And today it's louder and stronger than ever. Like the whole part of my body, like everything goes off when I
Right.
get a notification. It's the same with the mail. It's the same with a phone call I wasn't expecting. It's all these things. And I just keep going, oh, because I felt like a couple weeks ago, you have to expand your container. You have to
Right.
expand your container every single time, because what I do, something exciting will happen, and then it hits the depth of the container, and then I shut off. The excitement's
Right.
gone, everything's gone, because I go, oh, danger. Oh yeah, that was a
Right.
bad idea, you know? So I'm learning to expand it.
Right. So do you have your notifications turned off for your emails? Do you choose when to look at your emails?
No.
I would turn your notifications off and I
Really?
would say, okay, like looking at my day for this 15 minutes, I'm going to look at my emails. And then maybe in the afternoon, I'm going to look at them, and maybe in the evening. And those are the times I'm going to look at my emails. No one's going to die if I don't get back to them right away. And then start to notice if you are in charge of when you're looking at your emails, you're not just getting these pings and looking all the time, then how does that feel?
Okay, because I kind of thought, I feel stupid saying this, but lately I've been trying not to escape the the that feeling when, like,
Right.
because like, even like, I've been avoiding people for about a year now, like really
Mhm.
avoiding them outside of my house, for the most part, because I have found peace for the first time in my life, and I just didn't want to disrupt it. But lately I've been, allowing myself to be around people, and
Mhm.
and allowing the triggers to come, because
Right.
I was keeping space so that I wasn't triggered, because I just didn't want to feel it all the time.
Right.
But the triggers have been happening, and I'm able to deal with them, and I'm converting, and just like, it's fine. And
Right.
so I was like, well, maybe this is another thing I'm just supposed to be forcing upon myself to grow. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, think about what we just talked about before. Okay, so every time an email goes off, I'm getting a ping and I'm getting anxious and I'm feeling it in my body. And then just kind of taking a breath and going into your heart. Would it feel better if I was in control of when I looked at my emails?
Yeah, and I think
And
it would feel better.
what does your heart say?
Yeah, it would feel a lot better. All of the notifications could go away, and I'd feel a lot better,
I
honestly.
I have all my notifications off because it always was taking me out of where I was. And the thing is about being present and having that choice. So, okay, now it's my time to look at my emails. Now it's my time to go on Instagram. Like, just really taking control of what feels right for you.
Okay, that makes so much sense. I'm feeling a little resistance to it. I don't know why, but I'm going to listen to it, because
Yeah.
I already, on like social media, I don't go, like, I go to post my stuff, which is mostly just my episodes. Like, I'll post
Right.
about my episodes, and then I spend 5 to 15 minutes looking at other people's stuff to help, like, share or whatever, because I'm really
Right.
committed to being like helpful
Right.
to other people. And then that's it. But
Good.
I thought to myself, like, yeah, because my regular mail doesn't just get fucking delivered to my kitchen table. I get to decide when I go out there and check the mail. But
Right.
why am I feeling like a failure to do that? Like, to decide to be the
Right.
one in charge? Why? Why does that feel bad? God.
Right. So it's going in and looking at that resistance. Where is that coming from? What does it need? How can I give it to it? And taking control of your life is your choice. And so that's really a lot of what I teach is what feels right for you. And if someone's listening to this and they go, nope, that doesn't feel right for me, I want to know when my mail, great. Do what feels right for you. And it's not what
Right.
you think is right. It's what you feel is right, how that feels in your body. If it would be a big relief for me to only check my emails 3 times a day and I have a set time around everything else that's going on in my life, if that feels good, then do it. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna turn off my notifications when we hang up. As a matter of fact, I really am, because it's only recent that I'm feeling this. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, well then maybe I was supposed to just turn off the notifications, and that's what, like, maybe this is just
Right.
another area where I'm taking charge.
And see what that feels like, because it feels like, when you have energy and you're sensitive to energy and you've got all these pings all the time, you're getting hit with that energy all the
All
time
the
and your
time.
body's going, this is too much.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's an excellent first step in kind of reclaiming my like systems, organizations, you know what I mean? Because how can I go with what I'm feeling if I'm going with the ping? You know what I mean?
Right.
I like that a lot. Was there
Yeah.
anything that you want to say to, as a anything at all?
You know what? I think just what I said before, that we're meant to continue our relationships. They're not meant to stop. And one thing that I find really works for people is if you can find a place to be quiet and you can just kind of relax and you can say this, I'd love to feel you, to sense you. And then I say, just feel your energy move from your head into your heart. And you can even take your hands and kind of help it move down and just have someone in mind and smile them into your heart. Put a smile on your face and feel their energetic hug and just feel them around you and
Yeah.
just start there and just know that when you start those relationships, yeah, you might wish they're here. Of course, we all do, but it changes things for you, and it changes how you feel about life, and it changes how you feel about yourself.
It really does. It
Yeah.
really does. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I have really loved this conversation. I would love to stay connected in any way. I don't remember if you're on Instagram, but if you are,
Yeah.
I will follow you, and I will also add you as collaborator whenever I make the post about this episode.
Perfect. Yeah,
Awesome.
everything for me is just under my name. I'm on Instagram, and then there's my website. Try not to do too much social media.
Yeah, I hear you there. Well, and I'm only active on my Instagram. I mean, I'm active, well, not really on Facebook, but that's more just like I post my episodes and stuff, but really I'm like, those are just my friends. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's really just my Instagram, which is a mix of personal and that, but really I don't even post that much personal stuff anymore because I don't like it. I just post you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people are weird. So I'm trying to stay away from the internet a little bit too, but whatever.
It's all about intention. I love my little corner of Instagram. I love, the people that I interact with. So it's all about how you intend to show up.
Absolutely.
On social media. Yeah.
And I've made good friends on Instagram too.
Me
Like,
too.
and we follow
Yeah.
each other, and that's like, I want to support them, and
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Well, what
Yeah.
is it, Tuesday? Okay, I hope you have a terrific Tuesday.
You too.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, make sure you've given the show a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to if you haven't already. And check out my website, empoweredwithmelissahepner.org, or my link tree on Instagram at melissa.hepner to check out my latest offers or workshops.
Emotionally unavailable.
All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
Emotionally unavailable.
INDEPE and cut.